Now, all the provinces had their state of the provinces except for Limpopo and Mpumalanga, which are scheduled for early next month. Most of the provinces highlighted fighting crime, job creation, economic recovery and infrastructure development as a priority point for the year ahead. Let's take a look now at the importance of the State of the Province addresses, particularly in a local government election year as the country faces widespread service delivery challenges such as water shortages and disruptions. Political analyst Professor Kedibone Phago joins us now live. Thank you so much for your time, Prof. And when you look at the State of the Province addresses, mainly focusing on service delivery, but of course, those who are sitting on the opposition benches will weigh yesterday's promises against today's priorities. And on that scorecard alone, some premiers may be found wanting.
Morning, Linda, and thank you for the opportunity. Indeed, the reason we have the State of the Nation address, the State of the Province address, the State of Municipal addresses that will be also taking place is to really outline the priorities for the year ahead, and this is why they are usually at the beginning of the year. They normally take a cue from the issues that came from the main State of the Nation address, but also find a way of localizing them. So it's quite important that provinces themselves, as you have outlined, look into their own context. But part of the reason, and you are correctly pointing out a very important element of accountability, that part of the reason we have opposition members in the legislatures, in parliament, is to precisely represent us as citizens and our views on whether these are concrete plans, are they realistic, what are they measured against, what is the progress from the previous presentation by the provincial leadership in this case.
Yeah. And most importantly, these promises also depends on how they land to the ordinary South African who lives with these challenges on a day-to-day basis, whether it be potholes, water outages, or even electricity issues. So how does that land, particularly in an election year for the electorate, the ordinary South African?
Right. So it's going to be a very important year, especially for the for ANC, that is the party in government, if you may. But you will see that out of our 9 provinces, ANC is leading 7 of those. So they really, I think, need to put their best foot forward and demonstrate very significant reforms. I'm just not sure that they will have sufficient time to address this chronic and complex infrastructure issues that we are talking about, the lack of consistent and reliable water supply, issues relating to high unemployment that we are experiencing. I think the president touched on that and some of the premiers touched on it, but you can see they are not really giving us very concrete ideas on what they are going to do about the issues of unemployment. And that is really a ticking time bomb for young people. So it's quite necessary that we don't just talk about, creating employment, but we need to give out very clear, specific plan of action that will be taking place. And because that is not really forthcoming, it says that those who will be campaigning, the political parties that will be going out on a campaign trail for the local government elections, will be facing a lot of questions from the voters.
Yeah, and when you look at that and compare it with the political instability in some of these municipalities, when you go back to the 2021 local government elections, there were over 60 hung municipalities, and in some instances we're still seeing, those issues where some ward councillors are resigning, joining rivals, creating sort of that political instability within wards, which in fact affects the service delivery. How's that likely to play out, especially in light of the fact that we're seeing a growing number of coalitions in, the country?
I think, and that is a very important point, Linda, that going forward, the predictions, the what we see playing out is that we are going to have a lot of coalition governments in provinces, in local, and of course at the national sphere. So that is really going to be a defining moment for our political history, maybe as it matures, to try and say that we do not really put our eggs in one basket. And I think this is a huge challenge that is saying to anyone who wants to be part of the political player, that they need to understand this development and really plan around it. So they need to demonstrate a lot of ability to work with the opposition, even where they hold very and strongly different views, because I think it is from that point of view that the public will start judging and determining on whether government is interested in the plight of the people or not. So for me, that is really going to be the litmus test for our politicians going forward.
Yeah, and when you look at, provinces like Gauteng, KwaZulu-Natal, and the Western Cape, particularly when you look at, Gauteng, you often hear how there's a growing number of people that are migrating to the province, and government's inability to sort of deliver at the pace at which the population is growing. How is that likely to affect what politicians are going to be going out there and telling voters?
Linda, you are raising an elephant in the room, because it really talks to the notion of intergovernmental relations. It talks about how municipalities need to anticipate growth in their spaces, because the reality that everyone is aware of, especially at these leadership positions, is that there's huge urbanization taking place throughout the country. And the challenge, therefore, is that in fact, in the literature, in the scholarship, that is part of what is happening, is that you see poverty urbanizing. So a lot of poor people coming to the cities. And the issue here is, how do you plan for that? What kind of training programs do you have in place? The employment that you want to put in place for those kind of people, housing allocations for those kind of people. So you need a comprehensive plan to try and make a determination on who is coming into the city, what are they going to offer, and how should we best accommodate them. And I find that chronically lacking across the board, because if we're able to plan and understand who's going to come into our city and the kind of skills that they have, and link them into opportunities that the cities would or should be offering, we will then be able to address a lot of socioeconomic problems in the country.
Yeah, the Auditor General has painted a very worrying picture when it comes to municipalities. And again, the issue around how money is being handled in local municipality. We hear big plans being announced, budgets being allocated, but the expenditure and how the money is spent is often the problem. Do you think that at this particular point, there are enough mechanisms, to ensure that local municipalities are held accountable when it comes to how they even spend money?
Yes. So, Linda, what is currently happening is that there is a process that the minister or COCTA has undertaken to review the white paper on local government of 1998. So we should be hearing the current the changes in the next few weeks or months, to say what are the new interventions that are coming into reforming local government. But your point is quite important, because my view is that local government has completely collapsed in South Africa. It really does not exist in line with its constitutional mandate. It has stopped completely serving the needs of citizens, but it has been used and repurposed to serve the needs of the elites, the needs of individuals and their political parties. And what you see coming, the allegations at the Madlanga Commission, precisely looking into what is happening in Ekurhuleni municipality, you will begin to realize that the current system of local government has been completely hijacked and serving other interests. And if an entire institution has been repurposed, you would think that those who are put in those spaces, especially our public representatives that are in the council, should actually be very decisive in terms of bringing back the local government in line with its constitutional mandate. And I think once those key strategic issues are addressed, then we should be able to see improvement in finances and service delivery issue activities.
Professor Kedibone Phago is a political analyst reflecting on the state of the province addresses that have been delivered by premiers across the country. We still have some that are yet to be delivered, which is in Mpumalanga and Limpopo, amongst others. So we'll, of course, be tracking those developments. Now, up